So give me coffee and TV, history. I've seen so much I'm going blind, and I'm brain dead virtually. Sociability, la 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 la. Oh, I don't think I poured myself enough coffee. Hold on. Oh. You know, I just suddenly realized I took notes, but I still haven't thought of what I'm going to call Fez Night. Sean Bean suggested take this Fez and shove it. But last week I had take this Fez, may it serve you well. And I don't know whether, I have to plug this in. I don't know whether anybody, it was a pretty obscure reference, but in number 9, the Beatles song on the White Album, there's a voice that says, take this, brother, may it serve you well. That's what that reference was. All right, I got something really lame. This is really lame. Oh, I got something really lame. I'm writing it down here. Of course, you all know Fez Night. I might edit a little bit of the beginning, a little bit of the end, but I pretty much, yeah, I rarely, one time I mentioned a name that I shouldn't have mentioned, and I took that out, but I almost never, ever edit Fez Night. Even if I have to stare into the camera silently, I still leave it in. That's all part of the branding of Fez Night. I was going to say something else, but what was it? There was some other little thing. I've been listening to Spotify. Now, I don't know if any of you remember Pandora. I used to be a big fan of Pandora, and then somehow I just fell out of the habit of listening to it. And one reason is I would take my laptop over to my stereo and hook it to my stereo, and I would get some good sounds. And Pandora did pave the way for letting you give input back to whether you like this music or not, and they had some algorithms, they had some experts, people that listen to music, and they could help you, or they would make choices for you and say, well, if you like this, you might like this. So it was a really great way of discovering new music. One of the things, though, that I like about certain types of songs are the lyrics are important to me. Now, I know this, she's no longer a girl. She's a full-grown woman now, but I used to know this musician, and she once told me she doesn't care about the lyrics at all. And I think a lot of people are like that. But for me, the lyrics mean a lot. And I don't think they ever came up with a system of not only combining the rhythms and the pitch and whatever. I'm not a musician. That goes into, hey, I'm wearing my RAF roundel, like Keith Moon used to wear. It's a long sleeve shirt, and it's just I couldn't wear it in the summer because it was too hot. Now, where was I? They haven't come up with any kind of system or algorithm for lyrics, because in some cases the subject matter is really important to me. I really like that Garbage song, I'm Only Happy When It Rains. And I can't think of any other example right now, but a song with some sort of cynical, sad thing going on, sometimes I'm really in the mood for. So now I'm a big fan of Spotify. And I can't put my finger on exactly why I'm into this. Maybe it's because they promote themselves better. They're linked into Facebook. I think a lot of it had to do with when I got my phone. And by the way, I'm not really living large or anything. I got that phone for 18 bucks, around 20 bucks when I didn't have to, but when I renewed my contract with Verizon. My old phone, the screen was getting scratched, and it made it hard to see some numbers. And so then I could get one of those smartphones for like 18 bucks. It's used. It's factory refurbished. But man, that thing's addictive. Being able to carry the internet around with you and check your email, go to Facebook and check out Twitter, it's crazy. Plus there's all these cool apps. Like what do I use fairly regularly? Oh, at work I was using the Google Translator. I was working with this guy that barely speaks any English, and I hardly speak any Spanish. And for the important things, I would pull out my translator. Works very well, actually. So yeah, that's my plug for the smartphone. A friend of mine said, I still use a dumb phone. And that's fine. I mean, I didn't upgrade my phone for years. And everybody else was getting those. I bet he has one of those ones with the keyboards, though. Because my issue was not being able to text. That was the real impetus for me getting a new phone. Because I was working these two jobs, and the people, they liked texting. I pretty much never understood texting, but now I really get it. All right, time to don the fez. Greetings, fellow citizens. This is Citizen Kong, and welcome to another Fez Night. Tonight's Fez Night shall be called Coffee Talk Fez Night. There are so many of these channels using the term coffee talk. How original. Excuse me, I'm going to move this light just a little bit. I know, I'm so vain. That's what a lot of vloggers suffer from, is not good lighting. I want to say hello to Relay Channel Box. She's a channel I ran into because of Son Beam. And Son Beam, whoever you are, I have a feeling you're somebody I already know, but whatever. If you're somebody that I don't know, that's new, yeah, I get a kick out of you sometimes. Sometimes. I get a kick out of you all the time. No. I didn't mean that in any bad way by saying sometimes. Can't get a kick out of people all the time, right? Relay Channel Box. Rebecca Lusty. I don't know if that's your real name. And if you're some dude pretending to be a chick, I'm going to be very upset. Really, these guys that do that, they're the lowest of the low. They're lower than the bottom feeders of the internet. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of gay in a way, isn't it? Anyway, if you are a dude, you have great tastes and interests. And if I rolled that way, we would hang out together. God, I've seen some weird stuff lately on the internet, on YouTube, and I watched this video with Timmy calls him Egg Carton, and he was expressing his love and sexual desire for real man. He's obviously really drunk, and I guess he thought he was being funny, but he went into such detail. There's something really wrong with the guy. And real man. Is there any women out there that are really would feel sexually attracted to real man? Come on. Actually, real man doesn't even like women. He has no desire to be with a woman. At least John's Wacky World's got the desire. But Wacky John, I thought I was bad. No, actually I've had, I don't mean to brag, I'm bad with relationships, but I've had, over the years, I've had a variety. There's been long gaps in between, but there's part of that I think I kind of like that. My family was so dysfunctional, I think I pretty much settled on the idea, and I know myself well enough. I'm a little bit too messed up to do that to kids. Or do all that to a wife. I'm getting closer though. I think I'm settling down, getting ready. You know, it's getting way too past the kid thing. You know, when I was on OkCupid, there was a gal that was really interested in me. She was sending me text, but I was kind of repulsed by her. Do you think that my problem is I'm too choosy? I mean, she was up for it. I won't exactly go into details why she was repulsed. I think there's a certain type of man. I mean, she wasn't unattractive, you know. I guess it was like her painted nails and like her kitschy way of dressing, kind of like those capri pants. She was wearing those capri pants like the gal did on Married with Children, and you know, painted toenails. Not that I'm really against all that. It's just one of those things, you know. There's a certain way it's done. But kind of like one of those beatnik chicks that wears all black. A black turtleneck sweater. At least that's what I was in the mood for then, and I was getting the opposite. Very colorful. She really, really liked boats. And the thing was that really clinched it, where I really just stopped answering her texts, is I thought I was going to have to move. I thought I was going to lose my apartment. I still have issues with that. And if anybody of you, please give me some encouragement to get off my ass. I've got an opportunity to make some money, but it's not what I've fallen into all these years. It doesn't involve skilled labor, or basically it's like having to write a paper. And when I was in school, I was good at that. It's probably been about 15 years since I've actually written something for a class. But I was good at it. But it's like pulling teeth. And for some reason I can't wrap my mind around doing it for money. I've never, you know, the sad thing is I've never ever been paid, except for my art. I've made some metal pieces that I've sold. I guess I could say that I've been earned some money by using my mind, or at least my creativity. But I've never earned any money for just simply writing something, or just using my brains and not my hands, except for typing or holding a pencil. So I thought I was going to lose my apartment, and she offered the suggestion that I buy a boat and park it in a slip and live at the marina. That's where she wanted to meet. She wanted to meet at this place in Chula Vista called the J Street Pier. There's this restaurant that overlooks the water, and there's all these like boats and yachts and things like that. That's totally not me. Totally not me. My dad loved the ocean. Me, I can take it or leave it. I'd rather be in the mountains. And the only body of water I would like is a stream, a river, or a lake. Yeah, I think I really, really prefer that. And I got this, I really, you know, there's one real turnoff for me is when a woman doesn't take the time to even try to get to know me a little bit. And that was like the worst suggestion ever. Not only do I not like boats for the most part, I've gone out on the ocean. My friend Kip really liked boats, and I went out on a couple of fishing expeditions out on the ocean. You know, not way out there, but we were on the ocean. It was a good sized boat. It was like, looked like the minnow, you know, on Gilligan's Island, about that size. Maybe a little smaller, but about that size, inboard motor and all that. And, but like I said, I could take it or leave it. And I know she probably imagined, oh, life would be wonderful. Life would be wonderful if David had a boat and I could go stay on it with him and we could go out and enjoy the ocean. The woman that should not be mentioned liked sailing, but she couldn't swim. And I used to say, you're insane. You're insane going in a little sailboat and not knowing how to swim. Plus, melanoma ran in her family. You know, she's second, I guess first generation Irish, you know, Irish American, and real pale skin, and which I love, by the way. And I tell you that there's something about, I've had the best luck with women of Irish extraction. Well, not the best luck, it's always been terrible. But there's mutual attraction, at least in the beginning. But I don't know, this got me talking about Relay Channel Box. If you're for real, you're wild. You're a wild chick. And she's all the way over in Belgium. Anyway, the woman actually shall not be mentioned. Yeah, she was crazy. Didn't know how to swim. Would go out on these little sailboats. Looks like it might be the 2-hour Fez, eh? Eh? A sunbeam. Lost my train of thought again. The boat. Yeah, I'm sorry I got on this whole tangent about women I've dated, tastes and likes and dislikes. But oh well, that's Fez Night. I talk about what's on my mind. And later, sometimes I talk about something that might rouse somebody, but really, for the most part, there's only certain people that would just be personal. It's just stuff I'm thinking about. I mentioned egg carton. So mostly what I learned about him was from watching Timmy videos. You know, Timmy and I will never get along, and it was a big mistake. And I was in a really bad place. I was really in a bad place, and I'm pretty much a loner. And I think people are a hassle in many ways. And when I do have, I'm making some good friends at work, but they're the work friends. I think the older you get, or at least the older I get, the less capable I am of making new friends. But part of me doesn't really care. Somebody said, if you can't make friends on the real, that's why you're on the internet. Hey, well, probably. But, yeah. So, yeah, this is really bad. Well, at least I'm not repeating myself too much, huh? Egg carton. I was going to say, that circle of people. Yeah, I'm sure you're all great people. I really like Vlogger Cat. I really do. But man, some of the stuff that goes on. Oh, I started saying to me, yeah, that was I was in a really bad place, and I could have used a friend. But I did have friends that I talked to on the phone, and that was a pretty good substitute for me. Good enough. You know, I always imagined, not always imagined, but I think if I would be rather good at it psychologically. I used to read a lot of science fiction when I was a kid, and there were situations in some of the books. There was one in particular where you are by yourself, shot off into space. You're on a spacecraft or you're on a planet, and you're by yourself, and the only company you have is who you talk to on the view screen. And there might be like a regular person you see every day. It's kind of like Skype. And I think psychologically, I would be pretty good with that. I think so. Which may be something good about me or something actually sad. You know, humans are supposed to be social animals. We're almost like pack animals. That's why dogs and humans get along so well. Both pack animals. The idea that they feel more comfortable in a group. And it probably did a lot for our survival as far as how man survived, because they worked together as a group socially. This whole idea of the independent, everything I did on my own, I accept the fact that I've had a lot of help and I've helped other people. And I don't mean help like handouts, but I mean support and yeah, you know, if I needed a hand and I asked somebody, I've always pretty much known people that were good. My few friends are always good people, except for in my druggy days. Those I call my druggy friends. That's a whole different animal. So, Wacky John's been posting some, and I kind of got out of hand. I posted a comment, like, stop being pathetic. Dude, you're trying to milk this for attention. And if you want attention from women, they'll feel sorry for you and say, come on, hang in there. But it's not going to make... Are there any women that like that find that attractive, you know? That are like, oh, I want to date him because he's sad about his dead dog? As I was saying, I like Vlogger Cat. Those people over there can be kind of vicious. There's a lot of stuff to go on about calling somebody a pedo, and mainly that's what they do. They make videos, response videos. They go on Skype. They record conversations. They play it back. Real Man's part of that group, you know, and they're pretty mean. They take it into the real a lot of times, and I mean, things have been so dead around here. I found that I am kind of getting some entertainment from that drama. I've used to see a little bit before, like I used to watch Torp and his feud with the Wiz Lives. And mainly I started to think of watch Torp because of the whole thing he got into with Riley. And there was that Team Torp thing. He was trying to recruit people or something like that, which I've always been wary of that thing. I was a real reluctant. I didn't ask to join the Network of Evil. I was drafted. Speaking of the Network of Evil, at least that group, when we fought, we did it with very, very, I think, clever and amusing videos and sock channels. Even though there were times that people pissed me off and I felt like I was being thrown under the bus, or, you know, where are you coming from, you know, where are you coming from on that, you know? And yeah, those feuds lasted a long time. But I'm still friends. I'm still good friends with Old Frank and Monk. I mean, those are people. Somebody else said, what was it Torp was saying? There isn't anybody on YouTube that I would like to hang out with in the real. Not one person, he said. I think that's the guy that said something about not being able to make friends in the real and trying to make friends on the internet. I think I could do both. What's wrong with that? You know, in the old days, people had pen pals, and they never even saw what the other person looked like, in some cases. Scott and I are real good friends. I consider Frank of the Mountain a friend, even though we don't engage a whole lot. Frank, I apologize for being such a flaming liberal. I'm glad that you and I have never gotten in any fights over that. I think you still like me despite that. And as far as the group, the Network of Evil, yeah, Jeff. God, you know, one of the things I think made the Network of Evil, I was gonna say, even Lisa and that other guy, you know, brought something to the Network of Evil that made it all interesting. You know, and like I said, there was one like collaboration video where they put clips. I think there was like 2. Jeff tried to organize those, and they came off fairly well. But there were things that Jeff turned on me and tried to play me for his amusement. And that's one of the things that I think poisoned the network of evil. And it started bringing in some talentless people. And then the final straw was the duck that that poisoned the pond. Brought the whole level of creativity down. Somebody that only does mashup videos set to music or whatever, never shows her face on camera, and jib-jab videos. And I'm just saying something to you, Andy, because I expressly said, my feud is with Pops. I'm not going to bring anybody else in. And what did you do? You came over and started foaming all over the comments. It's just like, you're bored too, huh? You really need to, and you accused me of picking a fight. And then you posted Pops' comment. Anybody's there to go read it. Clearly, it was a negative comment aimed at me. And you used my video clips without permission. And I'm not low enough to go and try to flag it or do any of that stuff. I mean, people know who I am. They can find out where I live. So it's not a problem with me giving YouTube my legitimate documents and trying to get your video taken down for using my stuff without permission. But I'm not that petty. But obviously you are. And the other thing is, and I saw this thing, the guy being accused of being a pedo on the Vlogger Cat video. He did what you do. He went in there, said a bunch of crap, and then removed his comments. And that just shows, like I said, one time I wrote, that shows spinelessness and lack of character. If you're not willing to say something and then stand by it, or at least let it stand and then apologize later. Yeah, I've written things I've regretted, but once it's out there, it's out there. And removing the comment, it's just, it's not cricket. So I am nostalgic for our group. But yeah, when we were doing that killed, assassinate Citizen Kong shtick, which I thought was a lot of fun. Of course, it revolved around me, egotist that I am. Jeff, what is it? You just couldn't stand it. You had to throw me under the bus in the most vile way possible. Those are just your tastes, I guess. But those are reasons I think you grabbed the wheel and you just drove the network of evil off a cliff. Bringing in all these people, sending out all those bones, you really, really lowered the bar. Really. Poor Jeff. I have a clip of David Duke. There was a documentary called something that was on the History Channel. It was the history of the Ku Klux Klan. And there's a great clip in there centered around David Duke, his whole rise to power and how he was different and how he sort of rebranded the Klan. And I took a clip from that, just on the David Duke part. And I've been toying around of using it somehow to take the piss out of you, Jeff. But I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to sit down and write something and do a little bit of editing. Yeah, it's bad enough that it's bad. It's too bad for you people that I'm doing a Fez Night. But I said it before, it's funny. I'll do a little clip of a video around town, something that I think might get a few hits. And Fez Night is not like a big hit getter. There's this one of the Adams Street Fair that I had no idea. I should have monetized it. I went back and looked at it, had a couple thousand hits. Who knows? Who knows what's going to get a bunch of hits? You know what I mean? And when you try, it just, it doesn't work. And you just not try and boom. But Fez Night is steady. I don't get a lot of hits, but it's steady. So it shows that despite all this rambling and how long this friggin' can be, and how I talk in circles, and I drop a thread, and then I go back and pick it up. Long pauses, forgetting stuff, going off camera. There's people that actually watch this crap. Thank you. I love you all. Hey, to my, I'm an Anglophile. Happy Guy Fawkes Day. It's coming up. Remember the 5th of November, the something gunpowder plot or whatever. In the UK, did you guys celebrate it early? I think I saw something about that. Is it because it falls on a weekday or something like that? The first time I ever heard of Guy Fawkes Day, and I wasn't sure what was going on, but I had a friend. It's one of the best friends I ever had, but he became even though he was like, went to public school, which over here in the United States we call private school. His dad was an executive for IBM. He liked, he had this thing where he liked the American working class, at least as far as his music and things like that. And I think that's why he liked being friends with me. And I'd have to say he was my best friend for a long time. And but he just had a real weakness for crystal meth. And he didn't fit like the redneck, like, you know, scumbag type. I mean, this guy was educated, he had a 6-figure salary, but he just, cocaine just did not do it for him. He had the money, but crystal meth, and it was his downfall, major downfall. But for some reason he used to always bounce back. I saw it happen like he fell once, picked it up again, fell again, kind of, picked it up again, but then really, really hit bottom. And I haven't heard from him since, but I'm sure he's probably doing somewhat better. Did I mention Frank? Yeah, I did mention Frank of the Mountain. I hope you're doing okay. It sounds like you did some great preparation with the generator and all that. But if there's shortages of gasoline, there's not much you can do about that. And I'm sure you and I are close to the same age. Remember the big gas crisis in the 70s? Was it during the Carter administration? The long lines at the gas pumps, how they rationed gas where you could only buy gasoline on like odd and even days, depending on the last number in your license plate or something like that. And people were storing gasoline, hoarding it, and how dangerous that was. I knew a guy that was making good money putting spare gas tanks, extra gas tanks in cars. Go underneath there and weld an extra gas tank. So when you went to the filling station, you fill that up and you fill another one, and you had gas to last quite a while. So, yeah. I guess that's it. Guy Fawkes Day. Oh, I started to say. So I was watching this film, and I can't remember what movie it was. Maybe it was a Peter Greenaway film. By the way, anybody out there a Peter Greenaway film? The Architect's Belly? What was it? There was something by numbers. I can't remember the titles of these. The first one I ever saw, I remember this title: The Thief, the Cook. The Thief, the Cook, his wife. The Thief, the Cook, his wife, and her lover. I even forgot that one. Drowning by Numbers. Is that one I remember? Belly of an Architect. Those are great movies. Except one of the last one. It was something about 8.5 women or something like that. And that had a really creepy scene in it. It just really put me off. But I really loved his other films. The film was good. It was good, except for that one. What was the Pillow Box? Something with a pillow? That was a great one. It happened in China. Anyway, Peter Greenaway. So I thought it was some movie that took place in Britain. Maybe it wasn't Peter Greenaway. But there was a scene where the kids were collecting pennies for the guy. A penny for the guy. And they had like this dummy, and I was, what's up with that? Nick explained it to me, about Guy Fawkes and how the kids collect money to buy fireworks, and they set the Guy Fawkes effigy on fire. And I thought that was really cool. And then the movie V for Vendetta came out. Is that right? God, I'm bad with movie titles today. I'm pretty sure it's V for Vendetta. And they're using Guy Fawkes as a symbol in that movie. And not the traitor that Guy Fawkes was, the whole trying to bring England back to Catholicism. Just wrong. Wrong, Guy Fawkes. But I think the masks are cool. My hair was darker. I took my glasses off. Do you think I could be a Guy Fawkes? So, make the beard pointier. Anyway, I thought that was really cool, and I learned more about it later when the movie V for Vendetta came out. I guess that's about it. Oh, yeah, there's one thing I want to mention. I posted a link on Facebook, and I found this article very interesting. This is my one little political thing. Besides the David Duke for president. Jeff was actually espousing how David, come on, Jeff. And then you got mad at me calling you a racist. Come on. You're a lovable racist, but saying that you're going to vote for David Duke or writing a blog for his website. I told you David Duke blocked me. The guy's spineless. Can't take it. Can't take the heat. Come on, you might as well put on a hood. David Duke. All he's done is just change the rhetoric. He's done like a 1984 where, newspeak. He doesn't say any of the hot button issues. And he claims to be defending the Palestinian when he's going against Israel, but he wouldn't let a Palestinian marry. I said it before, I'll say it again. He wouldn't let no Palestinian marry one of his daughters. No way. If like one of his grandchildren or one of his daughters, I don't know whether he has any kids or not, I'm sure he does. If anybody in his immediate family married a Palestinian, he got his blessing. I'll eat my fez. Yeah. Okay, the last political thing, a little politics thing stuck at the end. There was a great article, and I posted a link on Facebook. And it was about, it's from a Slate, which was kind of an internet magazine. Great stuff on there. I've talked about their podcasts before. And it talked about how the rest of the world that we care about, Europe, Italy, England, France, even I guess, I don't know, I didn't read a list of every country that would, but in general, people in the rest of the world, if they could vote, they would vote for Obama. And it talks about how, like England or Great Britain, for example, when Margaret Thatcher came into office, she was a big fan of Ronald Reagan. And they followed our lead with that Reagan-style economics. And that caused them a lot of problems in the long run. Problems they could have avoided. Problems we could have avoided. With giving the banks too much power. I mean, general stuff. Bill Clinton did things wrong too, but it was this whole, like, what America wanted, and thinking that by letting the rich get more money, it's going to help the rest of us. But it's never worked that way in history, ever. Pretty much in every kingdom, every example, even in the Old Testament, in the Bible, there's a concentration of wealth in a very, very small group, and the rest of the people are just, starving and begging and whatever, And it's true, when a merchant class arose, then you started seeing a middle class, merchant class in society. The most famous one is like the Medici cartel, in Venice, the Renaissance, that sort of thing. But even you had like still checks and balances in place. It's sad to say it, the church had a lot of control over them, but of course they started exerting a lot of power on the church. The Borgia, you guys should watch any of those shows. There's a couple really good shows that deal with the Borgia. Very, very interesting. I found it fascinating. The European version is my favorite. I think it's German, French. But there's an American version with Jeremy Irons. Lays it out, in an entertaining fashion. But even the merchant class did have the guilds. There's an artist friend of mine who hates unions. Hates unions. And I pointed out to him that, what do you think about guilds? Because he's an artist. Oh, guilds, I love guilds. Well, what is a guild? It's a group of artists and craftsmen getting together as a group and basically setting rules and setting wages, rules as far as apprentices and things like that, and keeping check on each other. So one guy just doesn't start like undercutting the other guy, and there's rules about commissions and things like that. And they banded together, not about like rules to keep each other down, but to protect themselves. And what does a union do? It does the same thing. Like they say, guns don't kill people, people do. Unions aren't bad. It's the people that can be bad. But the union, the idea of a union, we even call our country, the State of the Union, the union, the side that won. What's my point? Again, that the rest of the world got into trouble when they followed some of our stuff. And if Mitt Romney gets into office, it'll be more than the same. There's a great thing I saw on Facebook with a picture of Paul Ryan. I wish I could remember it verbatim, but basically at the top it says, gave money to the rich. That didn't work. So let's give more money to the rich. Greed had so much to do with what went wrong here. Deregulating the banks. All these like loans that were broken up into little pieces. Selling houses that people couldn't afford to. And a lot of people, it's the own fault of the damn people that used to go. And the old that tried to buy a house and didn't have the money. Yeah, you can look at it that way. But in the old days, if I went into a bank and no matter like how much I wanted to buy a house, the bank would really sit me down and say, we're not going to loan you the money. And here's why. You have no collateral, you have no income, and that's it. But instead they did. They loaned money to these people to buy houses. It was just like a house of cards, excuse the whatever. Mixing metaphors or whatever. The economy was a house of cards because they were selling houses that were like houses of cards. And the other thing is George Bush did a lot of damage to the United States and the rest of the world. And Romney accuses Obama of going on an apology tour, in which he did not do. But the gist of that is that the Bush supporters said, basically, fuck the rest of the world. We'll do what we want to do. And that's the wrong attitude. It really, really is. It's like saying, fuck my neighbors. I'm going to do whatever I want in my own goddamn house, in my own goddamn yard. Fuck them. It's just wrong. I think the rest, what'll happen? You have some asshole that does whatever the fuck he wants in the neighborhood without caring about other people's needs. We had one neighbor when I was a kid. My dad loved his peach trees. And this asshole, without even thinking about it, water softeners, you use salt, you put in the water softener. He dumped his water salt. I guess he figured he needed to dump the salt out. He dumped it out into the soil and nearly killed my dad's peach trees. It's like he thought like the fence was some magic barrier that was good, so he could do whatever he wanted in his yard without affecting us. What the United States does affects a lot of people, and the rest of the world understands that our leadership matters. They pay attention. And the consensus is they don't want somebody like Romney that would probably do that same attitude as Bush. I was thinking of another example, but I don't have it right away. Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, it wasn't an example exactly, but another interesting thing. The Economist, which is considered an economist rag. The Economist is considered a conservative rag in the UK. Now, you might say by American standards it's liberal. But as far as conservatism is in England, and I think there's some pretty hardcore conservatives out there, one of the things, The Guardian is more left-leaning, more liberal, and the Economist is much more right-wing. And even though they wrote an article, there was an article in The Economist that said, talked about Obama's faults. You know, they're not really on board with some of his, maybe it been his Keynesian notions or whatever for saving the economy. But they endorsed Obama because they saw the alternative as Romney as being worse. And one of the things they cited was what happened to their banks and the system there, because they followed the U.S. lead. You know, in the short term, what we did and what they saw in the U.K. was people were making money hand over fist. You know, but in the long term, things are worse. You know, it's like this short-term gain. It's like killing the goose, thinking you're going to get, you know, you might get 3 or 4 golden eggs, you know, quicker if you kill the goose, reach in there and pull those eggs out. But that's it. I think that's a better metaphor than just simply ripping up a piece of paper. Oh, look. Should I go on for an hour? I still got lots more, and I got more coffee. All right, everybody. Have a great week. And thank you for watching. Wait, I said that backwards. All right, everybody. That's it. Thank you for watching Coffee Talk Fez. Have a great week.